Hey everyone, James here from Synergetic. This time I'm here with a tutorial. This came from a customer request who was wondering how to use our make.com module for the Autolists feature inside Metricool. Autolists, if you're not familiar with it, is a way to define a list and have that list of posts processed on certain days and times, and it might be a one-time only kind of list where like each post gets posted once at a certain date or time, and then it progresses to the next post and so on. Or it might be circular. It might be like evergreen content. So you have a set of 10 posts that you incrementally move through. And then when you're at the very end, you start again from the very beginning. Super useful feature. I know Buffer, which is a similar tool, has a like an auto scheduling feature as well. And while we don't have a feature natively with our integration, here is actually how you can set it up inside make.com. So first things first, I'll just walk you through like the auto list features and how you do it inside of the UI, and then how you can do it inside of make.com programmatically, automatically. So yeah, you're naming your list here, defining any sort of like presets. Um, this repeat here is what I was talking about, whether or not you recycle the posts inside your list. So if you have that evergreen content, you can just keep posting and posting from that, list of 10. These are the platforms that you're posting to. This is the beauty of auto lists, is that you can set when you are to post. So you might know, the peak times in which your audiences likes to receive their content. It can be on weekends, weekdays, at a certain time of day in a certain time zone. And this is where you are defining your list. So you might do it manually and write it out here. You might import it via CSV, like, and do it in like bulk, or and probably the coolest way to do it is through some sort of dynamic feed. In this case, you can link an RSS feed. This RSS feed might come from your blog, it might come from your YouTube channel, and you can paste that URL in here. So the method that I'm going to show you today can account for all of this functionality here. And I'll show you what it looks like. So just broadly, we've got two different scenarios that you might set up depending on whether or not you want your content to repeat, like move through a queue in a circular fashion, or if you just want it to post the latest from a like a dynamic feed. So I'll walk you through the first scenario. I'll also assume by this point you've purchased our Metricool app, which you can find a link for in this video's description. You've set up the social media accounts inside your Metricool, and you are ready to go. So this method here is if you have a kind of like RSS feed, if you have like a constantly updating list, like I don't know, a YouTube video feed like we have here, and I want basically once a week a post to go out in our Twitter that mentions or advertises this newly published video, or like the next video in this queue. So for this method, you've got two ways of doing it. You've got these like instantaneous ways of catching content. So a webhook, this might be, as soon as you create the content, whether it be inside your Airtable, Google Sheet, or wherever it is, you might press a button that fires a webhook. And then you'd start with this module, which would catch that webhook and then process the post accordingly. Similarly, you might use an RSS feed. So whenever you publish something in your blog, that adds to this RSS feed. And when this RSS feed watch item here gets triggered, that's when your post to your Twitter channel, your Facebook channel, whatever, that's when that gets generated as well. I'm going to use not an instantaneous request because I don't need these posts to go out so instantly. I'm happy to have something that gets polled once a week. And then from that poll, I get like a list of items that are to be posted. So I'm going to use the YouTube watch video in a channel polling trigger. And if I'll just give this a quick run, I'll show you how it's set up first of all. So when you add this trigger, not only do you have to connect it to your YouTube account, you have to connect it to the specific channel ID. You can set these filters here, like, I only want to return a list of videos that were published before, published after. Um, but this is an important one here. You only want to extract one video at a time inside of this automation. So I've set it to one here. Next, you're going to choose where this starts. You might want it to start from today onwards. And so forget all the videos that are currently existing in the channel. I only want it to start listening from now on. You might choose from a specific date. You might say, forget all the videos before X date and start processing them one at a time after this date. You might choose all your videos from all time and start from the very beginning, or you might choose manually. I'm going to choose from all time. Okay, and so ideally this is going to grab our first video. So if I click run this module, you can see it's only returned a single one here, which is exactly what I wanted, and it's grabbed the earliest one. And this was a video we did about our Kajabi integration for make.com. Cool. That's the first thing here. To generate the content for this Metricool post, I don't want something static every single time. I want to introduce something unique, and this is where like AI can be introduced. We've got an Open Router module. Open Router, if you're not familiar with it, is like it picks basically the top LLMs, or it picks a variety of like open source and non-open source chat GPTs or LLMs in order for you to generate content with. So I've just written a quick little cheesy sort of prompt here, write a punchy one sentence Twitter post sharing our latest make.com integration. And this is where I'm feeding the AI, the video title that I pulled from this YouTube module, just so that it has content to work with so that it can create something unique as well. And this is where I'm selecting the role, the model, so on and so forth. So I'll show you what this looks like in a second. The last step of this, and this is a really simple automation, you could add all kinds of like flourishes in between, but this is just for a demonstration today. We've got this Metricool schedule post module. So this is where we are queuing it up inside our Metricool. So I should mention, before you get to this stage here, I sort of hinted at it from the start, you can schedule this automation to happen on a daily basis, on a specific days of the week, specific days of the month. So if I say I want this to run on Tuesdays and Thursdays at, I don't know, 9 a.m., and this is whatever your make account's time zone is set in, is what this number will be. So you can sort of add or adjust this. If let's say you wanted to send out on Tuesdays at 9 a.m., but you wanted to go out at Thursdays at 5 p.m., you'd just sort of you'd allocate one scenario per scheduling here. So once you've set this up for like Tuesday at 9 a.m., you could duplicate this entire scenario and set it up for Thursday at 5 p.m. So that's how you could achieve that. Okay, going back to our Metricool post. This is where I'm selecting which account, which platform I want to make this post under. I set the date and time for it to be published to be 5 minutes from whenever it reaches this step, just so that you don't have any issues when it comes to, you can't post in the past. By the time that this gets triggered, maybe it's already in the past. So just add a couple of minutes here. Select the time zone. The post content, I'm going to pipe in that generated content from the Open Router module here. You could use, your open AIs. You could use a number of different AI models. You can pipe in any media if you want to pick up from any of those flourishes in the previous steps. And then you can sort of add a thumbnail URL from that, I don't know, YouTube module or wherever you're storing your list. I'm going to set it as a draft for this one. I'll click OK, and I'll show you what it looks like. So if I click Run, OK, cool. That all looks successful. I'll jump over to Metricool. Okay, cool. You can see that it has pulled one of the older videos and it has run AI, created some sort of unique post hook, and it's linked to the video itself. Next, I want to show you, let's say you have a list of 3 evergreen posts, okay? And you can add and remove from this list of evergreen posts. We are going to use Google Sheets to host these list of evergreen posts. So these are them here. It's just ABC, Hello Worlds, and a link here. But then you might notice that there's this like status column here. This is a kind of flag to indicate which post is next in line to get posted. So I would recommend creating a Google Sheet, could be an Airtable database as well, with your auto lists, and maybe dedicating each tab or table, if you're using Airtable, to a particular list that you want this AI to cycle through. But similarly, what this is going to be doing is that it's going to be, I will actually just delete this Airtable module. And I've got to set the trigger. Sorry. Cool. So what this is doing, this is just connecting to that sheet, and it's basically saying get everything inside of this tab. Okay. So if I run this, okay, you can see it returns 3 bundles here, each bundle correlating to one of these posts here. So I've got, descriptions, I've got URLs and so on. Similar to the last scenario that I showed you, you can pipe these. Well, actually, what we need to do first is add a label because we are only interested in processing one of these at a time. So find next to post. And what this is we're going to define a condition. So from that list of posts, we're only interested in where status is equal to next to post. And since there's only going to be one of these records at a time that has this status of next to post, we're only going to get a single record each time. So this is a very necessary step to add here. And then we're going to process that post. You can put it in AI, get it to generate, the content for your Metricool post. And then we're going to do the exact same. We're just going to sort of post it straight through the Metricool. But then you need some additional steps because this is evergreen content. We don't want it to, we want it to cycle through this content. So let's say, in 3 weeks' time, it's going to post A again. So what we have to do here is we've got a Google Sheets module, update a row. We're going to remove the current post flag. And so we are going to look for the current row number, and we're just going to set the status as opposed to next to post. We're going to just empty it. So we'll add an empty string here. Next, after this has been posted, we have to line up the next post so that when this entire automation triggers again, it's going to find the one flagged with next to post. The way that we do this, a little bit of maths involved here, but you can copy this formula verbatim and you can copy this post setup here. But what it's doing is it's checking that if the current row number, so technically post A is on row number 2, if the current row number equals the total number of bundles or posts plus 1, because we've got to offset the row number is 2, but it's technically post number 1. So if the row number equals whatever this number is here, then you want it to restart at the list, and the list starts at row number 2. Otherwise, you're going to take the current row number and move to the next row. And so because this is 2, it's going to move the next to post to row number 3. Okay. But like I said, you can just copy this verbatim. So it's going to target that next row and it's going to label it with that next to post. So for the sake of simplicity, I am going to just remove these modules here so you can see it in action. So, all right, I'll click run. Okay, I'm not sure if you saw that, but I mean, the status next to post was in row number 2. Now it's moved down to row number 3. And if we run it again, it'll move from number 2 to number 3. All right, now this is, we'll test again if it cycles through and it has this like circular logic to it. I'll run it again. Perfect. Okay, cool. So it doesn't matter how many rows you really have in here or how many posts you have in here. You can craft and edit and update your content on the fly. And as long as it's done before this automation triggers, it'll just pick up the next one in line to process. So you'll want to order these based on the sequence you want your posts to go out in. Cool. All right. I know lots of information here today, so don't hesitate to reach out to us in the comments or through our website. Like I said, this is a way in which you can use Metricool's auto lists features, so you can set and forget a list of posts and have it post on automatically. Cool. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, and looking forward to seeing what you guys create. Bye.